Here with Kiinde tonight. We are excited to be coming to you live tonight to talk about the ugly of breastfeeding. So I have tonight with us Misha. Hi, Misha. Misha
Hi.
Trescott. And she is an IBCLC, International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. And I will let her introduce herself, but she is going to talk to us tonight, answer some of your questions that you've shared on Facebook and Instagram, and go over some of those topics. So we know that, breastfeeding and pumping come with some beautiful moments. As you see in my back here, I've had 2 boys, and sometimes we've had some great picture perfect, beautiful, beautiful moments. But other times I have been in tears with everything from clogged ducts, mastitis, thrush, you name it. I joke with my husband that because I'm a lactation counselor, I was given every ugly of breastfeeding so that I could tell my moms that I knew what they were going through. So I have personally gone through it all and then personally seen it as a lactation counselor. And it's not fun, but there are definitely ways to get through it. There's definitely things that help. There's definitely things you can do and change to prevent it or fix it. So we're going to give you some of those tips and education tonight when we get started. Misha, while we're waiting for everybody to get in, would you like to just go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about our giveaways.
Sure. My name's Michelle, and I am an IBCLC here in Southeast Ohio. So trying to expand the business. Just got the IBCLC, but I've been working in lactation for the last 11 years, 7.5 actually certified as a specialist and a counselor. So doing a lot of education with our moms in a rural area. We have a whole lack of access of care in this area. So we're very, very fortunate to have the ABN and the Appalachian Breastfeeding Network, which I work for as well, in this area to provide support for those who have a lack of access to care.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you with us. So wanted to first, as everyone sees, I'm wearing our new amazing Kiinde bib. So we're actually going to be giving away one of our bibs tonight. So stay tuned. We'll announce all of our winners of all of our giveaways at the end. So tonight we're going to be giving away one of our new great bibs. As most of you know, we have a foodie system. So our foodie system consists of our spout. So tonight in here, I have a smoothie. My older kids, they have a 2.5-year-old and a 7-year-old. They love these smoothies in the morning. And the nice thing is once they go off to school and I'm in the car for the day, I can just take this portion after they finish it and recycle it. And so all I have to do is wash this piece when I get home. So I don't have those like cups full of smoothies sitting in my car all day. So we have our wonderful spout, and then we have our spoon, which is great for purees. There's a little hole right there that you can squeeze the pouch and the food will come out of, and that pops right on. And then last is my favorite, because I even use this, is our sippy cup. So we have a sippy cup straw that goes into the bottom there. For mommies, your drink of choice. For little ones, water or juice or whatever you might be giving them for hydration. So there's our sippy cup stops. So for our foodie line, we've just launched as a little giveaway our beautiful bib here. So feel free to like below, tag your friends in the comments, share the video on your timeline, and we'll give you extra points and extra chances to win our first giveaway, which is our Kiinde bib. And then tonight, we're going to be giving away our starter pack to every mom here for free. We just ask that you pay the $6 shipping. So our starter pack consists of, oops, this one's opened already. We're going to have our bottle holder, 2 sets of adapters, our narrow neck, which will be for like Medela, and then our wide neck, which are for like Spectra, Meta, and one of our pouches. And then our nipple, and our nipple. So you're going to get the bottle holder, the pouch, the nipple, and then our sets of adapters. So with our system, let's say this was your pump and you had a Spectra pump, let's say. Instead of attaching a bottle here, you would attach our adapter. And then, pop this nipple off here. You would take our bag, and with or without the bottle holder, and screw it right on. So the one thing when you're pumping that's kind of nice, if you go to take this off and you want to set down your bag, and you don't want to spill your milk, you can just set it right down. So, and then put the cap on, store your milk, and when it's time to feed, pop that nipple right on and feed directly from it. So we're going to be giving all of that away, as well as 2 coupons are in the starter pack. So one is going to be for a 40 free pack of pouches. And then last coupon is going to be for our gift set. So we have our huge gift set right here, which is going to include, turn this around, all of our adapters, our storage rack, our bottle warmer, bottles, nipples, you name it, as well as our foodie system. So everything will be in here for you in your gift set. And this, with this coupon in your starter pack, will be $49.99. So it's half off. And so as you can see here, you're going to have all of the different pumps that you can adapt to. And also, if your baby does not like our nipple, let's say, which actually most babies do tend to take our nipple, but if your baby likes a different nipple or you just want to use your own nipples, our adapters will allow you to use any nipples on the market that attach to our breast, to our bottle. So super versatile, and we're going to be giving one of these away tonight. So like us, comment, share, and maybe I'll just pick another giveaway to do at the end if we keep sharing. So share, like, and we will give away starter packs. Coupon code is below. We'll be giving our gift set and our bib. And that is, so any questions you have on clogged ducts, mastitis, thrush, you name it, kind of the ugly of breastfeeding, pumping, go ahead and post it below. And we are going to dive into some of our topics tonight. We're going to dive into our questions as well. So as you keep posting, we will keep answering. We'll try to answer as many as we can on live tonight. But as you ladies know, you guys ask us lots of questions, which we love, but we do run out of time sometimes. So we'll answer as much as we can. And then if we get to the end, we will go back later on and make sure all your questions get answered. So like us, love us, give us lots of hearts, and we will go ahead and get started talking about the ugly of breastfeeding. So Misha, where would you like to start with us tonight? Maybe mastitis, clogged ducts?
Let's do clogged ducts first, because that is usually our precursor to mastitis. So engorgement and plugged ducts. Ladies, if we're not getting that milk out, then we are definitely keeping it in there and it's getting stored back into the little, what I like to call the milk factories that are being made. The supply's backing up, and it's going to start laying off workers if we don't get that milk out. So we like to get the massage going, get the milk out, even expressing with hands or with your pump. So that way we can get the milk gone and out of the breast so you can make some more. When we start feeling engorgement is when your breast is starting to be very taut and even tender. You are then holding or building up a supply. When it gets stuck into that factory, sometimes it gets nice and hard, and you start feeling a nice big bump in your breast. With that being said, we like to put some heat on there and try to get that nice and massaged out when you're feeding or right before feeding, so that way you can dislodge that plugged duct so it doesn't turn into mastitis, which is a complication that is very serious, actually. We don't get a lot of education on that, but it can be and turn into a very life-threatening thing if we let go of mastitis or we don't catch it soon enough.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I couldn't agree more in that, just kind of making sure, to preventing some of those before they kind of lead to that. I'd love, Sarah Palmer asked, I'd love to know more about the symptoms of mastitis, how to know it's coming and how to cure it.
Perfect. That's a great question, Sarah. Thank you. So what we would like to say is when you are starting to get a lot of engorgement, or you feel, sometimes you don't even get the knot, but if you're starting to feel feverish, if your breasts are tender, if it hurts more when you are breastfeeding, sometimes you get like a shooting, stabbing pain when you are breastfeeding. And then a lot of times you might get a fever as well with mastitis, and reddened areas, hard reddened areas are like streaks going up the breast is how you know you have mastitis. How to cure it? This is the only time I'll push something putting into your body, but you need some antibiotics. You have to go see that doctor and get treated. If you, for some reason, are allergic to penicillins and things like that, they can culture your milk and make sure also that you're getting the right antibiotic for the mastitis if it keeps reoccurring.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. It can, like you said, definitely be quite serious. And that's same with me. That's the one time that I'm like, nope, time to go to the doctor, time to get those antibiotics, because it's definitely nothing to, you definitely know when you have mastitis, you feel awful. So, yes. What'd you say?
I said flu-like symptoms.
Exactly. Yep. Michelle asked us, I saw a product from Levy that vibrates and is supposed to prevent clogged ducts. Are these products necessary and helpful? Soon to be first-time mom, not sure what I need. Well, Michelle, congratulations. We are going to actually be partnering with Levy in about 2 weeks on April 15th, tax day. So when you come back to join us, we'll definitely talk about that a little more and demo the product. But I would love to hear from you kind of on your thoughts on just vibration in general. That's what Levy does. It's a vibration tool. So would love to hear any thoughts you have on vibration.
I think that is, once again, I love the massage, but if you are having a hard spot when you're trying to feed as well, a massager like that would be super helpful, and kind of getting into the skin and deep enough sometimes is painful, but with a massager, it might alleviate just a little bit of that pressure. So it's very nice.
Agree. Yeah. So Michelle, we'll definitely be bringing that product on about 2 weeks, and we'll demonstrate it and talk about it a little more. But yeah, definitely helpful if if you have one of those clogged ducts, to help kind of alleviate some of that pain and hopefully get things worked out. I guess moving on to, so we can get that bacterial infection with that mastitis, and the other kind of flip side of things is the fungal side, which would be something like thrush. What are your thoughts on thrush? Kind of what moms do?
Well, and sometimes when we have mastitis, it leads to thrush because of the antibiotics. So ladies, when we take antibiotics, sometimes we get yeast infections, and this is the same thing in our breast. So we really need to watch out. The lingering stabbing pains and some other redness on the nipple, or having a lot of irritation at the nipple with, it's very itchy. You may not necessarily see anything in the baby's mouth, but those are other signs, and to know that you may have thrush with breastfeeding. So
yeah, I remember that pain so well, like the itching, and then it just felt like needles were coming out of my tiny little hole, clog, or nipple. I just was like, oh my gosh, it was just such a pins and needle feeling. I will never ever forget that. And moms, we don't want to discourage you. If you're a first-time mom, or you're pregnant, expecting, and you're considering breastfeeding, again, sometimes moms will have no problems through their entire journey. But other times, one or multiple of these will come up. And a lot of times there's just not a lot of information, or not a lot of good information. And so we just want to provide these tools. So, I definitely encourage you to, not let this discourage you, but use it and keep it in your tool pouch. And so if, when you're having your journey, you have no issues, if you were to get a new TV, right, you have no issues with it, enjoy it and move on. But if something happens to your TV, pull out one of your tools, use it, fix it, and then go back to enjoying, watching your show, or go back to enjoying breastfeeding or pumping. But it's just really helpful to have these tools in your toolbox. And, it can be very discouraging when you're going through it to want to keep pushing through. You want to usually sometimes give up. So I highly encourage you to reach out to a support group, La Leche League, IBCLC, lactation provider that could help you get through it, as well as other moms that can support you through it and share their experience as well.
And Brian, that's a great point. Honestly, us as moms, especially first-time moms, are afraid to ask for the help because we just feel like we should know what to do. And this is a new skill. We are not getting passed down through generation and generation any longer. So that's why we have professions and people who are specializing in these areas. So definitely reach out, moms, and get that education and get that support that you need so you can continue your journey.
Exactly, for sure. Cassie asked the question, is there a way to prevent milk blisters or reduce the chance of getting them? I've had a few of them that led to painful clogged ducts.
Unfortunately, unless there's a latch issue, there's no way to prevent the blisters. They just, if you have them, I should stop. If you get reoccurring plugged ducts, that's usually an anatomy thing, ladies. So there's a certain anatomy and vessels that are coming together in your milk ducts. And what happens is if you lay on it the wrong way, if you have a different bra on that day, all of these little tiny things, even if the baby is laying on your breast in a different way or in your pocket, and you're not used to that being there for such a long time, it's going to cause that clogged duct. So unfortunately, if you get reoccurring, it may just be something that you're doing like laying down or and it's absolutely just normal. That's your normal. So don't be afraid to, make sure that you're not getting into an infection and you're doing a lot of massage. That may be where that massager might come in handy, especially if you have some reoccurring ducts, plugged ducts all the time.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Let's see, what else? We talked about milk blisters, mastitis, clogged ducts, thrush. Where am I? What's something? What is the Sarah's asking, what is the best way to wean or dry milk up?
Okay. So to wean, you want to make sure that you are not getting into engorgement and mastitis. So what we need to do, during my second child, even, I thought I was good to go because I dried up so quickly on my first because I had a lack of production with the first child. So second child came, I thought it would do the same thing, just stop. Well, that's not the way to go. I ended up getting mastitis and it was awful. So really what we need to do is continue to prevent engorgement. So even if you're trying to wean or dry, what we would do is you would pump just a little bit to relieve the pressure and then, or feed just a little bit to relieve the pressure. And then you will go ahead and alleviate from each feeding. So one feeding at a time, concentrate for about a week or so, and then go to the next, eliminate one or another. So that way you're not doing just 24 hours of not feeding, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling to get together. So we want to just make sure, that you want to continue to empty the breast and not empty it, but keep it comfortable.
For sure. Awesome. Thanks for that. What about what's the other? Vasospasms.
Oh, vasospasms. I have had a kind of in the lactation field, it would be a pleasure of being able to work with these women because then I've actually seen it.
Yes.
But for them, it was not so much of a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So vasospasms happen. Again, it's anatomy. The capillaries of the breast are being cut off either due to a latch issue or some type of blood pressure or probably pre-existing issue with circulation. And what happens is during that latch time, the blood flow gets cut off to the nipple, and then you will feel some blanching or see some blanching. So it will be kind of whitish in the area after the baby gets done. And then you will feel the blood kind of like rush back. And during that time, it's just like if your leg falls asleep. It is kind of pinchy pulley and almost kind of like you just want to punch yourself just a little bit. So to be able to get through something like that, you may have to see your clinician as well for a possible vasodilator, which sometimes they're giving for blood pressure medicines.
Awesome.
And any other way you might be able to open up. So heat opens. So you would be able to put some heat on before or right after as well to reduce some of that stinging pain.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. You know, one of the things too that you can see it, I feel, is like in pumping, you know, and so a lot of times mom's like, well, I don't nurse, but some of these things can be seen in pumping too, you know, especially with that flange size, you know, getting your flange size checked. You can see afterwards if there was a lot of, you know, the size is wrong, you'll see that white blanching afterwards. So I think it's, you know, super crucial too to remember that whether you're pumping or nursing, you know, you're not exempt, unfortunately, from any of these different, you know, uglies of breastfeeding and pumping. So sometimes I've had mom be like, oh, I'm pumping, so I shouldn't go through that, but you're still extracting milk, so you still are prone to these things. So just be mindful of that. Dakota, go ahead. Yes.
Adding on to that as well, moms, your breasts change throughout your journey with breastfeeding as well. So one flange might have fit you for the first 3 months, but then the second 3 months, you may have to change that flange. So don't be afraid to reach out and get it resized if you're seeing some of those issues, because continuous damage during your pumping sessions will get you into some vasospasms.
Awesome. And Dakota asked, how do I produce more milk? We're going to get into milk supply in a minute. She just went back to work and she's not producing enough. So we have quite a few questions on milk supply. So we're going to answer that topic in just a minute, Dakota. So stay tuned. So again, if you're just joining us, my name's Brianne. I'm here with Kiinde. And I am joined by Michelle, our IBCLC tonight, who's helping us talk about all these things that a lot of times, again, don't get talked about, or there's a lot of misinformation on, from mastitis, clogged ducts, supply issues, thrush. So we're here to answer your questions. Please share. If you share our video, like it, love it, hopefully not, you know, hate it, but if you give us some feedback on the bottom, we will select you for our giveaway tonight. We have one fun Kiinde bib that we're giving away. We also have our twist gift set that we launched, or that we showed you guys in the beginning. And then each one of our moms will be getting one of our starter packs tonight. So please share, hearts, hearts, hearts. And speaking of clogs, so we are going to be in Orlando next week, April 10th through the 13th. So on April 13th, there is the Juvenile Product Manufacturer Association, JPMA, and we will be here live in Orlando all day to go ahead and provide you with our sample packs. So if you're here in Orlando, stop by our booth, booth 213. We'll be giving away these for free. And we also are going to be giving away lots of raffle prizes. If you come to our booth and you watch this and you tell us the code word, which we will announce at the end of this live, tell us the code word, we will select you for some of our giveaways. So feel free to please, you know, share this, like this, and then also join us if you're in Orlando, Saturday, April 13th from 10 to 4 at the Convention Center, and we will be giving away lots of free products. And we do have our 25% off sale today. No April Fool's jokes. It is truly 25% off. So please check out that as well. So we will get back into answering some of our live questions that we got from both Facebook and Instagram. Let's see. We will start with Julia. Julia Date. She asked, how can you maintain or even boost your supply when you're exclusively pumping? It seems the more water I drink, the more my supply has decreased the past 2 days. So I think kind of a two-part question on, you know, boosting supply with pumping, but then also kind of the water. Would love to touch on, you know, water and direct correlation with milk supply.
Okay. Yeah. So pumping exclusively and in production, sometimes there could be quite a few things that may need to be checked. So you may need to look at your flange size to make sure, like we were talking before, that it's not acting like a tourniquet or that you're getting the correct amount of suction so that way you can get the milk out. We also need to be looking at how many hours you're going in between or if you're skipping any pumps. Because sometimes when we are not sitting down with the baby because we're so busy, we may forget to get that pump in, and then it might be 4 to 6 hours later, and then our brain is starting to back those guys up and lay them off out of those milk factories, and that's when we get into a whole bunch of discussions. So we don't want to work with them. They're the union guys, so they will take forever to get back to work. So we want to try to stop that from happening. And then the water, you drink when you're thirsty. Water doesn't really have a huge problem with it unless you are overhydrated. You can overhydrate yourself. So
Yep.
be very careful, ladies. Drink nothing more than what you would normally drink when you're breastfeeding. So you do not have to worry about pumping it up unless you are sweating profusely with exercise, or if it is 101 degrees outside and you're walking with baby. You both need that extra hydration.
Exactly. A lot of moms think that the water makes milk. And, unfortunately, it doesn't. So if you sit there and drink 5 gallons of water, you will not produce 5 gallons of milk. So again, making sure moms, you're hydrating, but, some of these moms really get like, oh my gosh, I got to drink another one or I'm not going to have milk for my baby. But one, not only the stress of that can decrease our oxytocin, but that is definitely a myth as well. So moms, drink to hydration. If you are sweating, like she said, or working out or something, increase your hydration just like you would on a normal day, whether you're breastfeeding or not. Um, Randy asked, what's an average amount of time I should try to pump in a day?
Okay. That was a great follow-up question, Randy, because I realized that I forgot to really answer the rest of that question. So it depends on how many times you're pumping. You should be pumping every 2 to 3 hours, ladies, 4 at the most in between those pump sessions, especially when you're away from baby. So, and you want to be able to find a nice place that you're going to be able to relax, but please don't get fearful and think that stress will cause your milk to dry up or anything like that, because we have women all over the world, unfortunately, that are in some very stressful situations and they're able to get that milk out. So don't freak out about your stress level. Just try to be able to think about that baby, think of all the good things, and just relax. Deep breaths are usually what I tell my moms to do. I know that it gets hard, especially myself. I was working in an ER right after my very first baby. So hearing the bells and knowing that there might be a trauma coming in when I was really allotted that 15 to 20 minutes, I really had to take that for myself. So every 2 to 3 hours, if you're at home and you can do it, especially within the first 6 weeks, after that, you can space it out and go a little longer, between 3 and 4 hours, but no longer than 4 hours in between each pump, or you will see a lack of supply.
Okay. And then Dana asked, how long do you generally need to pump every 2 to 3 hours? So how long should a session last?
A session should last anywhere between, well, 5 to 20 minutes. Even if you have 5 minutes and you guys, and you're getting it in a couple of hours, do that. Do
Yep.
whatever you guys can. And then go back into a really nice long session would be 15 to 20 minutes, just like you would do if you sat down to feed your baby. And that's pumping and then massaging and then pumping again, to make sure that you've emptied as much as you can with that pump. Now realize you will never empty as much as you will with the baby at the breast. So they're going to be getting that hind milk and a whole lot of other like volume than you may be seeing in your bottles, because they have a beautiful, beautiful thing, saliva and the tongue, that will get that stuff out way more than a pump will.
Okay, and now we would be referring to exclusively pumping as far as pumping every 2 to 3 hours. But if a
Yeah.
mom is breastfeeding, then would you say how long would she pump and about how many times would she pump if she's breastfeeding as well?
Okay. There are some very talented moms that can feed on one side and pump on another if they're trying to build up storage before they go back to work. That is an awesome thing to do, only because baby's doing whatever baby's doing on one breast, it's happening in the other. So if they're able to get those letdowns, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to have that pumping session, as well as pumping at the end or pumping the other side that the baby did not eat on, or to make sure that the rest of the milk is out on the side that the baby did eat on if you're trying to get your storage up. If you are away from your baby and you are just starting to go back to work, then again, you want to stay within that 3 to 4 hours, so that way you can empty.
Correct. And now pumping every 2 to 3 hours, no longer than 4 hours. How long do you recommend that?
I would recommend 2 to 3 hours. Definitely the first 6 weeks. You want to get the 2 to 3 hours. After that, after the first 6 weeks, your supply should be not completely. Your supply should be pretty well established, and at that point, you can go a little bit longer between the 3 and 4 hour mark.
Correct. And I think too, it depends on each mom. I've had some moms that start to go like a 5 hour and their supply starts, to dwindle down. And so if you're just enougher and you're making 2 to 3 ounces every 2 to 3 hours, then you're probably going to need to keep up with that. With my oldest, I exclusively pumped for a while there, and I had to do every 2 to 3 months. I was in 4 or 5 months in, 6 months in, so each mom is going to be different with that pumping schedule. And that's why, really consulting with a CLC, IBCLC, a lactation provider will be huge. We just had a comment up. I wanted to make sure to answer it, and we'll go to Abby's next. I can't read it now, but basically she was asking her mom and sister and everybody had problems pumping and feeding. And is she doomed with genetics?
No.
Exactly.
Yay. That's the only thing genetics cannot touch, ladies. Thank goodness. You can thank your moms for your thighs and your butts, but you do not have to thank them for the way that your breasts produce milk. So what we do is education prenatally is a huge, huge benefit for any mother who has never had or been around a breastfeeding community, to help them. And then also making sure that you follow up and get the support that you need right after, so that way you can continue to meet your goals and your needs.
Awesome. Perfect. Abby asks, I'm a teacher on maternity leave. I don't have a break for my kids from 7:45 until lunch. I'm worried my supply will drop. I know legally I have the right. Any suggestions on how to address this at work? Any advice? I'm scared my supply is going to suffer.
Okay. On maternity leave. So you are still there and you haven't have first question would be, have you talked to your employer and came up with a plan yet? Making sure that they know, or introducing the aspect of you coming back to work while or during your breastfeeding time is huge. And just stating that you have, don't ask questions. I wouldn't ask the question. I would just say, this is the law. And I wanted to make sure that this break and this break and this break would be covered by an aide or somebody coming to watch the children while I go and do the things that I need to do. So if you come up with a plan about what time, and remember, after the 6 weeks, you can go a little longer, then make sure that they're also providing you a space that's safe for you to be able to pump in. So sometimes, due to like Alice drills and things like that, you can't lock the doors anymore in schools. So whatever safety things that you guys have to think about, make sure that they're allowing you to get into a safe space, so that way you have your privacy while pumping and you're not worried about a student walking in on you or any other staff.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. I'd encourage all of our moms, and you can always reach out to our team. We have an entire team of lactation consultants here on staff that we'd love to help answer any questions you have. Of course, tonight, feel free to post them below. We'll answer them all at one point or another. And then if not, you can reach out LC lactation consultant at kind.com, and feel free to reach out. We can help you find the laws for your state, the link to them so you can print them out, either email them over to your work provider or take them in and sit down and have a meeting and talk about the legal breaks that you are required to have, and kind of set up a plan. And again, I wouldn't ask for those breaks. I would talk about the plan to implement the breaks that you are legally, required to have. And again, when you really start to think about it, like if you were to pump at, let's say 7:45 in your case, and then you can't do till 11:45, even like one break in between, you're good, and that's even early on. So when a lot of times moms, think, oh my gosh, like I'm going back to work 9 to 5, how am I going to pump? But if you pump right at 9 o'clock before you get there, you're taking a noon lunch break, you get 3 o'clock quick snack break, and then you're pumping as soon as after you leave for work. So when you think about it, you're really not asking, too much. It's not like you're taking a break at 9, 10, 10:45, 11:15, So a lot of times moms get super overwhelmed about going to their providers, but a lot of times you're only asking for a couple 15-minute breaks, which most times if you smoke or have overactive bladder or any of these things, you're taking those breaks anyways. So usually it's not a big deal. And if it is, you have those laws to protect you. So
yes. And also, Brianne, to make sure that everybody checks your teacher union,
yes,
may also have a type of law that will protect it or go above and beyond your state law as well. So maybe getting in a hold of your rep or even your superintendent to see if there's a breastfeeding policy in place for your district.
Definitely. Lindsay asked, can you pump for too long?
Well, yes, you can. If you're, yeah. So if I always encourage my moms who are trying to pump up their supply to pump for 5 to 10 minutes after you empty. So that way it's sending signals to your brain to create more milk. But if you're starting to pump, again, if your phalange is fitting correctly, and you are starting to feel harshness, a pinchy pulley feel, then you're starting to break down your tissue, and then you're going to have sore nipples, and then that's no good.
So. Awesome, thanks. So we're going to kind of start to answer some of the questions that were posted to us on Facebook and Instagram. This is definitely a hot topic. So we've got 20 minutes left and lots of questions to go to. So I want to encourage you all to please, please, please ask below, because we will answer them after the show. But we also have a group that we just started 2 weeks ago. It's called Kiinde Community with a K. So that's Kiinde, Kiinde, our brand, and then Community with a K. So KOMMUNITY. And so please join that, because all of these questions, if you ask them in there as well, any questions you have in the weeks, months, days ahead, our moms are in there, so you can ask them and get real live advice, as well as our entire team of lactation consultants is in there. So please join there, so we can also chat after this. We'll have a whole after party in there from 10 to 11 tonight, where we can also talk. So go over there. Moving on, we are going to answer a question. Where'd we go? How can you prevent, from Tracy, how can you prevent clogged ducts? And if you get these string clogs out, is it safe for the baby? How long will the clogged ducts take to go away? And I've been dealing with it 5 days. So as you saw, guys, in the picture we posted on our story, there's a huge clog. And so this mom is wanting to know kind of about the safety of that. So Keisha, will you hit on that?
Well, I would probably not feed that to the baby. Just because they do not know how to chew yet. So it's going to be pretty stringy and mucusy. So it's going to be hard for any baby. But because that was in there, it doesn't mean that your milk is bad by any means. So you can continue to breastfeed throughout the whole getting a plug duct undone.
Awesome. Thanks for that. We had Bossfidence on Instagram asked us a question. I really want to, touch on this tonight. Her question was, my milk is super skim. I massage and everything, but it's not fatty. And my 4-month-old is constantly eating every 2 hours. How do I get my milk to be more fatty?
Okay. Well, I would first like to say that everybody has a different, has their body is making milk specifically designed for their baby. So what you're presenting and what you're giving your baby is especially for them. There are chemicals and enzymes in their saliva that tell your body how old your baby is, what your baby needs if your baby's sick, and then you produce that type of milk with extra antibodies or extra fat. So if they're going through a growth spurt, their saliva changes, and then you get more fat as well. But everybody has fat at different times in their milk production. So if you are seeing the milk, but you are not allowing it to set like in a bottle after pumping or in a bag, and you can't see the separation where the fat line is, just know that it doesn't come out in sections. So there are 3 parts. There's the colostrum, the foremilk, which I like to call my side dishes. So with the broccoli and the mashed potatoes, and then you have the hind milk, which is the steak. And the steak comes anywhere after about 10 minutes, but it comes in pieces, really tiny pieces. So then that way, you're not necessarily seeing a change in the milk and the way that it looks or presents. So it's not going to look from a skim milk to a whole milk like we would perceive it. But you would get tiny particles of that fat into the milk for the baby.
Awesome. Yeah. So ultimately, as far as the skim milk, it's not something, again, you produce the fat that your baby needs. There's no skim, milk or 1%, 2%. Definitely, and you're going to produce milk for your baby. So, mom, and then, at 4 months, sometimes they still feed every 2 hours. It could be a growth spurt. It could be a leap. So babies have developmental leaps. So it's going on in their brain, their body. And that, sometimes, and even no matter what you were to switch to, they can still require that every 2-hour feeding. So no, mom, that it's normal. And, I know that's, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's hard, and that may not be the answer, but it is normal and it is okay. And your milk is, perfect for your little one.
That's right. And as long as you are eating your protein and your vegetables and a round, well diet, then you should be good to go.
Correct. Yeah. So same, like we talked about with the food or with the, liquid, same thing, as long as you're eating well-balanced diet, same if you're trying to want to lose weight, as long as you're eating well-balanced diet, you're good to go for baby. Jessica asked ways to keep my milk production up and going back to work. She's working in the OR, so she doesn't have the chance to take breaks at the same time every day.
Been there, done that. I was actually a scrub technician for a labor and delivery, so very sporadic. You had no idea when things were happening. I totally understand that. There are some great tools now that are out there that you can be able to wear underneath your scrubs. Please excuse me if I say this incorrectly, but the Haka, right?
Yep.
So you can kind of squeeze that on there and allow it to drip while you're in surgery. So then that way it's catching everything. So if you're having a letdown, then it's not being wasted. If you're actually catching that, there's also pumps now that you can get and leave inside the cups in there, and you can get them to hook up. So all you have to do is ask maybe the RN to switch it off for you while you're sitting there at the table. There's a lot of other things out there now that I wish I would have had the capability of using during that time, but it's phenomenal, the tools that you have when you're doing that. But yes, definitely, again, talking to your supervisor, making sure that if there is a need, because remember, ladies, if you get engorged and you get plugged ducts and you get mastitis, mastitis is a very serious life-threatening thing, if not seen
Treated.
or being,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not treated. So
Definitely.
we don't want to get you there ever. So being able to talk to your employers and ask them what would be acceptable, maybe having somebody scheduled to be able to scrub in with you so you can come out for a minute would be an idea, as well as maybe looking into some of the other things that are very accessible for you now.
Perfect. Someone, Michelle asked, and I'm gonna bring this one up, and not to like talk about my own breasts, but she asked, she's small chested, and will it affect like production or anything? And being small chested myself, wanted to say I have breastfed two little ones in the back, my oldest for 5 years, and then my youngest, he's 2.5, so still going, and so I can fit into little girls' bras, so you can definitely be small chested and breastfeed size as far as that. That does not affect your ducts per se. You can definitely still produce. I've donated milk to many babies and many NICUs, so you can even have oversupplies with small chests.
That's right. Yeah. So all of these things that we've been talking about tonight still pertain whether no matter what size your chest is.
Yep.
So we all have glands underneath our breast tissue and throughout our breast tissue, and that's what's making the milk. So just the extra parts are usually the fatty parts. So it is not, it's extra, you just got extra tissue, really.
Yep.
It's all that it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no worries. As long as you are seen, again, I would suggest going to a healthcare provider that is definitely an IBCLC, so that way they can look at you, make sure that they assess you to make sure that everything is good to go and that your mammary tissue is working properly.
Awesome. Another question that got brought up. Oh, Roxy, how often should my nursing baby eat during the night? I wake up 4 to 6 times. He's 9 months. People say he should be sleeping through the night. I have a two
Well,
and a half year old. He doesn't sleep through the night, so it is very normal.
yes, every child is different. Every child is different. So you definitely have to go with, as long as you're reading the cues of your baby, you should be fine. If this is something that is bothering you and making your life a little bit harder to adapt to during the day, then trying to knock out one of those feedings either right at the beginning of the evening or right at the end of the sleep would probably be best. And then at that point in time, that would be when you would ask your partner to be able to help you with that and make a plan for that week, that every single time the baby wakes up during that time, that the partner goes and takes the baby, because if they get you, they're going to get the milk because
Yep.
we want to go to sleep. And that's okay.
Exactly.
But every baby is different. And if your baby is still growing and your baby is healthy, then you should have no worries.
Perfect. Becky asks, my 1-month-old has been sleeping 6 to 7 hours through the night. I've been sleeping when baby sleeps, but notice at 6 hours without pumping, my supply is dropping drastically. Will I always have to wake up to pump at night, even if baby sleeps?
Good news on that. No, you will not. But right now, because it's so, you said a month, is that right?
Yeah, 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because it's within the first 6 weeks and you haven't established that supply yet, you want to continue to empty the breast as much as possible. So if they're going, oh, bless your heart, 6 to 7 hours, good for you. You may want to wake yourself up about 3 hours into that and get pumped off. So that way you're not creating engorgement or mastitis.
Perfect. And then Sierra Schultz asked, my baby's 5 weeks. I'm trying to build a supply in preparation for me to go back to work. I pump between and after feedings, but I feel like I'm not getting much. What else can I do? I've tried some of the boosting products with no change.
All right. You don't have to worry about the boosting products. You're fine. And honestly, I would probably try to cut out in between the feeds, only because then you're going to stress yourself out. So really, if you're wanting to build that supply, if you have a good feeding position, I always liked the football hold for when I was pumping, because I was able to, again, pump at the same time as the baby was eating. So all of my stuff was done in one sitting. So that was always how I kind of started to get my milk prepared. Other ways of being able to do it is, again, the haka, being able to put that there so that way your letdown and everything is naturally going while the baby is eating and capturing your supply, or just pumping for that 15 to 20 minutes after the baby has eaten. Do not do anything in between, because you're going to get stressed out, and you're going to see a small amount because you're replenishing during that time. Give your body time to replenish.
Awesome. Perfect. Another question we had was from Michelle. She's a mom of 2, but 3 in the next month. She doesn't know when it's okay to start massaging and pumping. Does she need to wait until the 3rd baby comes, or can she start earlier? She's asking because with her other ones, she started pumping after they were born and was hard at first week or so, and I was able to nurse them just until the 3rd month. And then my second one, the 10th month, I'll try to breastfeed into the 1 year more if I'm doing well.
Okay. Whew, that seemed like a lot. So
yeah.
that's
basically
a hard one.
the starting early.
Yeah. Yeah. Wanting to start early, I guess I would have to ask first, are you still breastfeeding? So if you're still breastfeeding, you may not want to pump or massage, because this could cause uterine contractions and put you into labor a little bit earlier than what you expected if you're having any issues. If you're not having issues, you're able to, pump and give the nipple stimuli, and you should be fine. So definitely consult with your midwife, obstetrician, whoever is helping you with your pregnancy process, as well as making sure that if you're not producing milk right now because you're not feeding, then no need to start early. Again, let your body build everything up and allow it to work. And I know that it may have been hard, but this time, again, seeing somebody and reaching out, even asking questions like this, is a huge step. And just making sure that you are fitted correctly with your phalange, and that your pump is giving you the right type of suction that you need. So all of those things need to be looked at. And I wish you the best on this journey. It sounds like you have a huge goal to accomplish. So I'm super excited for you.
Awesome. And we had a question asked that when does breast milk not become high nutritional value? And does it, here we go. Will there be an age when your child isn't benefiting from breast milk? When should a mother stop? And so I always encourage to tell moms, breast milk is like broccoli. Broccoli does not ever, all of a sudden, I'm 20 years old and breast milk's no longer, breast milk, broccoli is no longer healthy for me. So, ultimately it really comes down to the mother and baby's choice of when they want to stop. But as far as the breast milk itself, it is always benefiting the child. The average national wean age is what now? 3 to 5?
3 to 5.
Yeah. Okay.
It's getting up there.
Yeah. So, surprisingly, America's picking up here and catching up some with the national average, as we really encourage breastfeeding and extended breastfeeding, more and more. But yeah, so it is always benefiting the child as long as you and baby choose to continue.
Absolutely agree. Yay!
Yay! We've had a couple questions here on Reglan. So we've had some moms taking Reglan and stuff to increase supply. And what are your thoughts on Reglan?
Reglan is that's a very difficult drug to manage. You definitely have to have a provider that is in the know of what the Reglan is doing for your body and what you want the production for. So if you're taking it, you need to have a clear plan of what's happening, and you need to know your body. You need to do a lot of annotation and writing things down, so that way you can constantly talk with your provider about how the Reglan is affecting your body and affecting your daily life as well, because Reglan does make you sleepy. It makes you drowsy. If you miss some of your feeding cues because you're drowsy and sleepy, and you're not feeding like you would normally feed, then that's going to also affect your production as well. So there's a lot of variables. So whenever you're taking Reglan, just make sure that you are being continually watched by a provider and an IBCLC to make sure that you are getting the effects that you want, and that and none of the side effects that may complicate your lifestyle.
For sure. Thank you for that. We talked a lot about underproducing, so I want to throw one last question in there on overproducing. One of our questions on Instagram was, I'm having trouble with overproducing. I'm needing to pump and feed every 2 to 3 hours and get an average of 6 ounces each time, even after breastfeeding my little one. If I try to go longer or don't pump after she feeds, I end up engorged with clogged ducts or leaky milk all over my clothes. How do I make this more manageable so I can go in public and have a life and don't put myself at risk for clogged ducts?
Whew, okay. Yeah. Oversupply. Woo.
Yes.
And Brianne, can you tell me once more, where did she state how many weeks she is into this? Does she say how
she doesn't.
baby?
No.
Okay. So for something like this, again, that first 6 weeks, ladies, we are just kind of crazy. We just don't know. Our body's starting to get into the same rhythm or a rhythm, just period. And not knowing where you're at. So the first 6 weeks, allowing yourself time to be able to get your production to where it needs to be. Do not rush yourselves to go out of the house. Don't rush your only job is to be a mama for the first 6 weeks. I know that sometimes that drives us crazy because of the stigma that life has given us. And sometimes we miss our life. But please just give yourself that time to heal and to become more stable, even with your with your milk production. If this is going beyond 6 weeks, then definitely pumping off as you get taunt just a little bit to release the pressure. And that is it. As long as you're doing that, or even hand expression to release the pressure, then you should be stable within 7 to 11 days to take that extra milk off of there. Then you should start to see yourself leveling out.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for that. Moms, a lot of you have asked, as, kind of Misha indicated, some very specific questions, and they're definitely, we could better answer some of these questions with some dialogue. So again, please reach out to our lactation email, which is lc@kiinde.com. And we'd love to either one, jump on the phone with you and talk about your situation, or at least go back and forth on chatting to be able to ask you, questions. Again, how old is your baby? How often are you pumping? Just different questions that we can help probably provide you even more of a direct answer and a specialized answer, a specific answer to your direct questions and your direct situation. The one thing we know in all of lactation is that every mom and baby is a very unique dyad. So, we can see the same kind of scenario and there's still something different about it. So that uniqueness, though, requires sometimes a lot of questions to be able to help. So I realize that it's 10 o'clock now. We've been going and going back and forth. And so we're going to start kind of wrapping up here and doing our giveaways. We've loved being able to thank you for taking the time to help answer some of these moms' questions. We'd love to have you with us tonight and be able to provide all this education to our moms. And again, guys, please comment below. We have quite a few IBCLCs on with us tonight who will be answering these questions through our team. And then again, lc@kiinde.com if you would like to talk to a lactation consultant. And then our Kind Community Facebook group, community with a K. Feel free to join that as well so we can chat after the show and in the weeks to come. We'll see you next week here in Orlando. We will be here live as we are here for the JPMA Baby Show. So feel free to stop by our booth and give the code word milk clog. So code word milk clog. So come to the booth 213, the Orlando Convention Center, or Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, and let us know the code word milk clog and we'll give you a free giveaway. So that is our first one. We have our winners, Rachel Schilling on Facebook Laura Agape Homestead on Instagram, and Kirsty Highfill and Team Kind, who won our trivia winners for our Spectra Nipple Balm. So again, Rachel Schilling, Laura Agape Homestead, and Kirsty Highfill, please reach out to us on our support page, support@kind.com, and we'll get you your free nipple balm from Spectra. So thank you for entering that. And then tonight, you can find the breastfeeding starter pack link below that's posted. Click on that. This will be completely covered for you free. All you have to do is pay the $6 shipping. We'll get you one of these starter packs. And then we have our two winners. Our new bib for our foodie line is going to be Rachel Metzler. Rachel Metzler, you're our winner of our Kind bib. So please email us and we'll get you your shipping address and get that shipped off to you. And then our big gift set here is going to go to Michelle Torres. Michelle Torres, our twist gift set. Woo-hoo. Yay, congratulations, Michelle, Rachel, and to all of our winners tonight. Thank you for staying tuned with us. Continue to share this, tag your friends. We know that our mom-to-mom support is huge, so please tag all of your friends. Let them know, that they can post questions and that they can watch this video and get more answers to some of their questions. So please, post, share, like, love, hearts, all that good stuff. And join our Kind community. And we'll be back next week. We do not have times we'll be back. We'll just pop in when we're at the show. But our scheduled next time will be April 15th, 9 p.m. Eastern with Brian the Birth Guide and CLC. And we will talk with him about more of some of this ugly of breastfeeding. And dads, feel free to join in too, because we know you guys get some of the hard stuff too. So we'd love to answer any questions, moms, dads, grandparents, family members, anything we can answer. So thank you again for your time tonight. And thank you everyone for joining us here at the Kind team. We're so thankful to have all of you a part of our team and a part of our community. So thank you and have a wonderful night.
Thank you guys.